Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back, Marriage, Money, and Mindset. We are your hosts. I'm Jared.
And I'm Alexis.
We are back for episode 16 of Marriage, Money, and Mindset. Appreciate you for following us, subscribing to our YouTube channel. If this is your first time visiting our channel, we want to thank y'all for watching and tuning in. And so consider subscribing to our channel as we drop content related to marriage, money, and mindset. So couple quick announcements before we dive into today's episode. We want to thank y'all for watching the last one on vacationing with your partner or spouse.
Vacation.
Yeah. We actually shot that video in Lake Tahoe where we just got back from. We had a great time. We had some family and, hung out and did some fun excursions, some, shows and some good food. Lake Tahoe is a very beautiful place. If you haven't gone, y'all should check it out. If you're looking for snow, probably not the best time to go early in December.
Now, yeah.
It didn't snow unless you go to the top of the mountain. That's where we saw some snow at.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great place. And then of course, we touched on the importance of traveling with your spouse or partner in that video. So if y'all want some tips on that, recommend y'all go check that video out, right?
Right.
You have any other announcements you want to make before we kick off? Anything?
No, let's jump right in.
All right, guys, so we're going to jump into it. So,
today's episode is going to be about keeping up with the Joneses. So we're getting close to the holidays. Right. Christmas is right around the corner. Mm-hmm. So I felt like keeping up with the Joneses would be a perfect topic to discuss. Right,
guys. And one thing, before we dive in, we want to just put this out there. So this channel is Marriage, Money, and Mindset, right? So this is more so along the lines of the mindset part. Because when you think about it, keeping up with the Joneses is a mentality. It's a mindset issue that most people, or not most people, but some people struggle with, right? Mm-hmm. There are ways you can combat this, right? And that's also what we want to give y'all some tips on how you can actually combat keeping up with the Jones mentality if this is something you may be struggling with. Or if you know someone who's struggling with, you can have them, share this content with them and, hopefully this can assist them, right?
Yeah.
So before we get started in talking about combating keeping up with the Joneses, let's talk about what is actually keeping up with the Joneses. So you want to dive into what that is?
Sure. Okay. So this mentality refers to the desire to compete with or emulate others' material possessions or lifestyles.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about that. So basically trying to mimic somebody else's lifestyle in layman's terms, right?
Right.
You got a neighbor, he buys a truck. Oh man, I want a truck.
Right.
They do some landscaping,
a whole bunch of
Christmas lights,
decorations.
Oh, we gotta outdo them.
Right.
Right. There's just examples. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So basically trying to emulate others. Mm-hmm. To basically mimic their lifestyle.
Right.
Or possess what they have. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's in layman's terms what.
Okay. It also involves a strong desire to compare oneself to others and strive to attain or surpass their wealth. So we pretty much just hit on that. Right. So just trying to be like somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Basically, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, like, one thing we realized as we did a little research for this video is it's almost like it falls in the competitive category for them.
Right.
Some people are actually in competition with others within keeping up with the Joneses. So, competition, there's nothing wrong with competition in itself. Competition is good. It can be healthy, in sports, business, things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
But when you're talking about keeping up with the Joneses as a competition, that's actually a competition that, you're probably really losing that, to be honest. You're not going to win in that competition. Like at the end of the day, you're not going to win.
Right.
Especially if that other person didn't even know they were participating. Think about that.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're in a game by yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not really a competition when you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys.
So this desire can stem from social pressures, leading individuals to spend beyond their means to achieve a status or image as their peers.
Mm-hmm. So now we're talking about social media being a big influence on why some people fall into this keeping up with the Joneses mentality, right? So
everything that we have is put on the forefront on social media. Like we're constantly posting.
Gotta be careful nowadays.
Pictures and videos of all of our possessions and nothing is private anymore.
Nah.
So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think people go in there. Sometimes I feel like people don't, know how like to
separate.
Well, just be their own, like just have their own. What's the word? Just be their genuine, unique self. Like they go to emulate somebody else. That's what I mean. Like they're looking at. They like some people struggle with their own identity.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. Like finding their own identity, and they'll basically mimic somebody else's identity because they have no vision on who they want to be, right, or who they are.
And that's the dangerous thing about social media is you can really create your own identity. You can be whoever you want to be online.
That's true too. Yeah.
Like it's not even your true, genuine self, but it's the image that you want others to see. Yeah,
exactly. So you got to be careful with these social pressures, guys. Don't get baited into thinking that, or being an individual who is chasing somebody else's, way of life, and you're doing it in a manner to just keep up with. So that's the part that you need to be very cautious and aware of.
I think it's kind of close to envy.
Yeah. I'll explain what you mean.
Like envy is jealousy. So you see what they have and you want it, but what's for you is for you, and what's for them is for them. So, I mean, you can't be envious of what other people have because you'll have your own time.
Right. That's true too. Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right, guys. So, like I said, be careful with the social pressures, and even from family, right? Family, friends, media, societal expectations, and often, these pressures can shape individuals' behaviors, choices, and beliefs to conform to accepted standards or norms within a particular social group or community. Yeah, so be careful with not only social media, but family as well, and friends. And so we talked about a little bit what the keeping up with the Joneses mentality is. Let's talk about ways you can combat it, guys.
Okay.
So there's, a couple tips we're going to touch on ways you can address this and combat it if you know someone who struggles with this mindset, this bad mentality. So one being defining your priorities. Okay. So talk about defining your priorities.
Okay, so you want to identify your own values, goals, or priorities, focusing on what truly matters to you. So
goes back to identity.
Yeah, I mean, stay focused on what is for you, like we said in the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah. Another way is creating a budget. Okay, so we talked about budgets before on this channel several times. So you of course want to establish a budget based on your financial situation. And of course, you want to stick to it. Avoid unnecessary spending driven by comparison with others. So,
do you think people budget for Christmas shopping?
I personally don't. I don't even feel like a lot of items people spend their money on isn't in the budget. It's all discretionary, and that's discretionary is a part of a budget, but it's majority of people's budget.
Yeah.
And they're robbing themselves from other categories. So. There's no budget, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a budget, and especially don't have a budget for the holidays.
Yeah, that's where the Christmas loans come in.
Yeah, you got all these loans. Banks and credit unions right now are offering you up to $4,000 in most cases. And then you're buying things with that $4,000 that don't bring you any real value in life, instant gratification. They're 9 times out of 10, that $4,000 is going to depreciate to zero.
And they're knocking you over the head.
So who really wanted that deal? The bank or the credit union? And then you're gonna do it again. You're gonna do it again in 12 more months.
Yeah, those people who you are trying to get gifts for, I think that they would rather, if they love you, they would rather you be in a good standing with yourself. Like if it's out of your budget to get them a gift, then I think they would just appreciate a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. Yeah, a card, something simple that is within your budget.
Yeah, I agree. Another way, guys, you can combat it, right? Let's talk about practicing gratitude. I like this one. So, appreciate what you have and cultivate gratitude for your own possessions, experiences, and achievements. So what you currently have today, right? Of course, it's not the end all be all either. Like you're constantly growing. You're constantly doing better in life, or at least you should be attempting to do better in life, right? And the thing about it, like with material items, they always just bring, temporary gratification. Like I can't tell you when I was 10 what I got for Christmas today, but I can guarantee when I was 10, whatever I did get,
You loved it at that time.
At that time, you know. So that usually is it. Even in adulthood, it's the same thing. You know, you buy certain things, it's short lived, right? So,
like the cars that you mentioned earlier, this may be my dream car today, but in 2 years, I don't really want this car anymore.
Yeah. You know, so just again, guys, you know, having gratitude for what you currently possess and then the experiences and achievements you've accomplished. So be grateful, basically, you know, for what you currently have. And, you know, like I say, you know, that's one thing you guys look in the rearview mirror and see what you've accomplished in life. So that's one way to kind of, you know, gauge where you are in your life currently, like as far as, you know, how you're elevating in life. You know, that's one way to kind of gauge it. You know what I'm saying?
We do that a lot, like in the month of December.
Just reflect.
We do a lot of reflecting.
Yeah, just
so
go back.
We look back in that rearview mirror and we just think about how far we've come, and then we don't look too much in the rearview mirror. We focus on the windshield, that bigger picture. Where are we going?
Yeah, exactly. What's coming? You know, so yeah, let's talk about some more ways you can combat this mentality. One is building self-awareness. Let's talk about that. So recognize when the urge to compare arises and consciously shift your focus back to your own goals and values. Okay, so where can the urge come from to compare yourself to others, you think? That urge.
I think
it could probably happen just walking out your front door, you think?
Yeah, we talked about that.
You know, you walk out to go get the mail or newspaper and you look up and the neighbor across the street, he got a new car, right? Or whatever, you know, he redid some landscaping.
Yeah.
You know, that's one way you can, you know, I mean, you still got to check the mail and, you know, and get the newspaper, I guess. But, you know, just fight that urge off. If you're a person who potentially may have this mentality based on just something that simple.
Right.
I mean, just gotta be wise. Use your mind. You know, use your head.
You gotta be disciplined.
Be disciplined. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was just using an example, by the way. I mean, it's not that simple. I would hope it's not that simple for some people to fall into this trap, but again, it could. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, just have self-awareness whenever that urge arises for you. Like if you're just in the mall, for instance, you're walking and you see something that you know you're not supposed to get, fight that urge off and keep it moving. You know what I mean?
So something that I just thought about, which is a little bit off topic, but whenever I used to work in the schools, I would see prom.
Oh, yeah.
So prom is really, really a big deal in the district that I used to work in. And it's like these parents are putting on a whole show and like they pull out the red carpet and everything. They go all out for prom.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just to put on for social media.
Right.
Like kind of put on a front.
Well, they're doing that, but then when it's time to bring supplies and
that's what I'm saying.
They're not doing these things. You know, they're doing,
I'm begging for supplies all year and your child doesn't have a pencil, but
don't be that person. Don't be that kind of
But you're pulling up in a Lambo to prom.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But again, you know, to each his own, I guess. That's why we're doing this. We're trying to help combat that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's talk about another way. You can set realistic goals. Set realistic goals. So, you know, establish achievable and meaningful personal goals based on your values, which aren't influenced by others' achievements or possessions. And then the operative word there is realistic goals, right? So assess where you currently are. You know, like we have a video where we talked about, you know, looking at your finances and assessing that. Like that's your, you know, your map. Okay. Right. So you want to assess that, like make sure you allocate accordingly. And then of course you set out real goals that are, you know, relatable to your budget or to your, you know, your current lifestyle. So, you know,
I mean, set a goal and work backwards.
Reverse engineer, basically. So have targets and reverse engineer that. You know what I'm saying? That's one way to combat it. You know what I'm saying? Another way to combat it. You know, and then of course, you know, they shouldn't be influenced by others' achievements or possessions. So don't do it because you want to compare yourself to someone else, in other words. Do it because you truly value that goal for you. You know what I'm saying? For your values, for your, you know, dreams and aspirations in life, right? Not to satisfy somebody else, to keep up with the Joneses mentality type of way. You know what I'm saying? So let's touch on one more real quick. So you want to, focus on experience over things, right? So invest in experiences and relationships that bring fulfillment and happiness rather than solely focusing on acquiring material possessions. So touch on that.
Okay, so in this holiday spirit, a lot of people go out and buy their children gifts, like material things that they're gonna play with for the week and then put on a shelf, and it's gonna get dusty. They're never gonna play with it again. They don't appreciate it later. But what if you could open them up a stock account? That's something that later on they're still gonna appreciate. They may not appreciate it so much in the moment, but it's definitely a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, definitely.
And then something else, like take them on a trip. I know a lot of people are adopting that mentality where instead of getting Christmas gifts or giving Christmas gifts to their kids, they're taking a family trip at the end of the year.
Okay, yeah. Those are great ideas, right? You know, experiences over material. So, you know, I know for me, man, I value material. I value experiences well over material items. You know, I've had material items. I still have possessed material items, but I look forward to more so like, you know, experiencing something that most people, you know, unfortunately probably won't, simply because, you know, that's not what they're striving for. And again, back to this video, that's why we're doing this. This is everybody's unique way of what they want in life, you know. So experiences to us matter more than the material items. We could easily go and replace those experiences with the material items. But for us, again, it's unique. We prefer to have that type of experience over material.
I enjoy experiencing a first time for both of us together.
Yeah, like this past week, you know, it was a first experience for both of us being in Lake Tahoe. Never been there. We both went there together and got to have that experience as a unit, right?
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so focus on experiences over things, you know. And again, like I say, we have things we still desire to have, guys. It's just like we're prioritizing it, right?
Yeah.
You know, and we're not doing it because we want to compare ourselves to others. Like, we're not going to get a certain, you know, whatever to match somebody else's whatever. We're going to get what we want because that's what we want. You know what I'm saying?
We're not really big gift givers. Like for
That's
holidays,
yeah.
just because it's a holiday, some people are getting gifts or reaching out to their family members just because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
But
well, it's a problem when you're doing things like that too, and you really can't afford it too, guys. That's another thing. Like, I mean, this is keeping it with the Joneses, but it's kind of turning into, you know, a video also about like just not breaking the bank around this time of the year. You know, almost like a couple other videos we did a while back, what's holding you back from financial freedom? These are the types of things, you know, the keeping it with the Joneses mentality is a thing that also keeps you from financial freedom. Yeah. And that should be a goal of yours. I mean, you got to find a way to not have to work for money for the rest of your life. That's, you know, part of this, you know, this part of this channel as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's all. You know, these are just a few tips that we wanted to help y'all out with today, you know. These approaches can help an individual shift their mindset away from comparison and materialism, fostering a more fulfillment and personal, meaningful way of life. So that's the whole point of this. We just want you to be able to be in a situation where you're not doing you're not doing things to keep up with other people, especially if you're not in a situation where you can even afford it. It's one thing if you have the discretionary money to do that, and you know, maybe you just struggle with identity, you know, and you want to emulate someone else because you don't have your own identity. But that's one thing when you can afford it. It's a whole other thing when you can't afford it and you're going in debt to do these things. Yeah. And it's really hindering you and holding you and putting you in a deeper hole to be able to do, you know, or be financially free one day. So again, guys, that's just, you know, some tips that we wanted to hit on today. Hopefully, these tips helped y'all out. We appreciate y'all watching this episode, of course. Yes. So, hey, look, be on the lookout for next week, right? We will be doing the episode in ATL, okay? We're not going to announce who we're talking to. We're going to have some special guests on the show. Right. So just stay tuned.
We're excited
set those notifications. Yeah, set those notifications if you haven't. You know, follow us on Instagram and make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't. We appreciate y'all either way. So.
And make sure to stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Stay in your lane, guys. So, hey, we appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all next week. Y'all take care till next week.
Peace.
All right.